Yes, we hope that at the end of today, we would have agri SMEs who are more export ready, who have more knowledge, and we are very open to answering your questions, consultations, and the likes. We at FutuX are we're not just in Nigeria, we're in Germany, we're in Togo, we're also in the USA. So we understand the international market. We understand what it means to be export ready. We understand certifications. And we also help to implement these certifications as well. So, and please feel free to ask all your questions. I'm very sure that our speakers are ready for you. They are people who have been in this space and they'll be giving us from the wealth of their knowledge today. So please take advantage, ask questions, don't hold back, and I'm sure that we would enjoy this webinar. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you to our host, Toib, for moderating the session. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Rose, for that very succinct and brief remarks. We sincerely do appreciate you and what you do with the team. Right, great one. So, like that's been mentioned, this session is meant to be an expository session for a lot of us who are attending, and I'm glad we have all of us joining. But again, I want to crave our indulgence. Should we have anyone whom we think they need to be on this call, please let us try to invite them. This session has been made open and free to anyone who is in the space who wants to learn, right? So it is not a closed session, it's an open session. So we want people to attend. Also, let me mention, you might have noticed that this session is being recorded already. So we are recording this session just to also put that out there for our general consent. Now, we would be going into the conversation, but again, I still want to mention, for those who probably registered or didn't register to attend, please let's engage them to join. Now, going into the conversation, I said we have two different topics that have been coined around this. But before then, let me also mention that you must be wondering, why do we have our choice of speakers to be two amazing women? The reason is because this is the month of March, and you know what that stands for, the celebration of International Women's Day. It's still on. We do not celebrate our women just for a day. It's a continuous celebration. And in that, we thought it wise at FutuX to say, okay, let's spotlight our amazing women doing great stuff in the industry. And that is why we have brought two phenomenal women to discuss this conversation with us. We have two topics. The first is bridging the gap, gender equity in export finance and market access, while the second is HACCP implementation roadmap for export-ready food businesses. So we're going to be going with the first one, which is bridging the gap, gender equity in export finance and market access. And this will be taken by Deborah Apochi. So please kindly allow me to to read the citation of our first speaker. Right. Deborah Apochi is a trade influencer, an experienced agribusiness facilitator, providing export readiness coaching and trainings to small, medium-sized companies. She found So Limited, SOW, I want to believe I pronounced that correctly, one of the leading agro processing and exporting companies from Nigeria, consistently offering quality services and products that are in line with international best practices. So Limited exports some of the finest species like ginger, turmeric, garlic from Nigeria, thereby making them the preferred export partners to so many overseas buyers. As a facilitator, Deborah Apochi of Ghana, over 35 years of experience in trading and trainings. Deborah has always and above all passionately focused upon empowering people through talking both locally and internationally, looking for who to motivate a group, corporate body, organization, association, or even a community on how to internationalize their business, then look no further. When she steps in, she brings simplicity and practicality into international trade. As an influencer with over 300,000 followers across various social media platforms, she teaches average Nigerians how to gradually start export businesses. The channel have assisted many unemployed Nigerian youth to start business that have greatly improved their standard of living. A member of Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Deborah has various certificates from International Trade Center on setting up an export marketing strategy, considering export market costs, the role of standards in supply chains, working with foreign trade representatives, doing business with Chinese people, adding value to the origin of product through geographical indication, GIS. As a development expert, she has created so many groups that enable women to crowdfund for their purpose of finance, for purpose of financing international trade and access international market. She has acquired requisite skills on commodity training both within and outside of Nigeria. She works in close collaboration with various associations to organize trade and partner with foreign trade investors to explore business opportunity in Nigeria with a deliberate gender approach to it. Deborah has a welcoming personality, self-motivated, diligent with a commendable leadership skills. Ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker for today, I present to you Deborah Apochi, and she will be speaking for the next 25 to 30 minutes. Thank you. Kindly unmute if you are here. You now have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Deborah Apochi, and if you're introducing me or introducing another person. So permit me to introduce myself the way I like to be introduced. My name is Deborah Apochi, the CEO of Shield of Women Limited. So if you remember all those women that used to carry, that used to travel from different parts of the country at the back of trailer. I don't know if most of you have seen them. Some women, you will see them at the back of trailer with tomatoes, some with rice. I don't know. Have you seen most of these women traveling from bush market before? Please leave an emoji if you have. So that is my story. So my mother was a commodity trader. There is hardly any place in Nigeria that she have not gone to. I would tell people that my mother have traveled more than most of the politicians, from the Dawano market, Kanu, to Monday market, Kakuri, to Seminamka market, Zaria, to Kubacha market. So she typically will go and buy alibo, cassava chips, dry maize, and then she'll bring it to town to sell. So I was one, my story is one of such, where you will see most of these women with small babies. Some of them are even breastfeeding their babies at the back of the truck. So that is my story. So most times I like to drop all this accolade and go back to my roots to let you know that before the boardroom, there was a bunk room, right? So that was the family I came from. And I have to see myself through school down to when I got to ABU, and I didn't even have money to pay for accommodation. I have to sweep the bunk room in ABU, and I was living in the bunk room. If you know Queen Amina Hostel very well, a bunk room where they used to put all those abandoned trash and all those things. So I brought out the bunk and I carried the room. My room was open. There is no window, there is no door, there is nothing. In where you have full blast harmattan by September, I was staying there very skinny till I started giving other children accommodation, and we became 14 in the room, and I became the presido of that room, and that was how my leadership started. So I like to bring myself back to where I started, just to let you know that it is doable, it is possible. My story was not one of I have it all figured out. No, it started like most of you. Some of you may be privileged, which we thank God. Okay. So having said that, having set that record straight, today's topic is finance, export finance and market access. When I was reached 2 days ago, I was wondering, how do I deliver this in 25 minutes? This is a full year course that I teach Lagos Business School. How do I compress it? So I resolved to doing one thing, that I'm just going to gift this class one very simple and amazing gift that will make you remember me for the next anytime you think of exports, which is market access map, right? So the question now is, how do we go about marketing? Because it pains me when I speak to most of my students. I'm not going to be sharing slides today, but I will at some point I will share my screen just to show you how to use the map. It pains me when I see most of my students, and oftentimes when they get back to me in trying to get access to market, I I realize that they normally get it all wrong, even from the very beginning, in terms of the product selection, right? So if you don't take anything from this class, remember that I said your first step is know yourself, know your product, and know your market. That is the foundation, that is the basis that you will always come back to. So they come back to me with a wrong product and a wrong market, and it's always difficult to address. So the first thing is knowing the exact products that you will be exporting and the exact market. That is what we call the product market mix that you will play in. If I ask this question that how most of us in this platform, how did we come about our product selection? Please, I would like to have a feel. Just type it on the comment section. How did you come about your product selection in exports? Was it that somebody recommended it to you? Was it that you felt that Nigeria, we have a lot of this product? Or was it that you saw Oga Wale exporting this and is making money? How did you actually come about your product selection or the intended product that you intend to use for this export? Please, I'd like to see your comment just so that I can prove something to you quickly, and then I'll share my slide with you, and then I'll take a few questions. How did you come about your product selection? I'm just going to be reading the comments and see what we have here. I'm not seeing anything. Can we see anything? Are we dropping anything on the comment? How did we come about our product selection or our intended product selection? My host, can you say anything on the chat box?
Yeah, I'm here. I'll do that.
I'll just pick 2,
So
3.
someone said the products I have access to. Another person said demand.
Okay. You have access to demand. I want to take 3 comments. Is there any other comment? Access, demand, access, demand.
So we have 2 for now.
Okay, so let me work with this. Somebody said I did a research from the market and market information. I did a research from the market and market information. Okay, market informed me what they want. Okay, so I don't know. Can you quickly unmute this Mr. Kenneth to tell us how he went about this research? Quickly.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kenneth, you can unmute. You have the function to unmute at your end.
Okay, let me quickly just share. I think what I did first of all, I went around the African market because I'm kind of based in UK. So I went around the market. I was asking questions. The people were already getting pulled out from the market. So I was asking them questions, and some of them were telling me, "Oh, this is what we majorly want. This was to majorly buy." That's one of the way I did my market research. Second, the other thing again I did was because of my constant speaking up and people like that. Some people also recommended people to reach out to me. So people reached out to me, they were into supply chains and all that. They were supplying to the bigger supermarkets here. So they also informed me what they want. So based on what everybody were reaching out to me, the major product that everybody were requesting for was what I said, okay, I would think I will major on this one first and then continue from there. So for now, I'm doing just one product.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That is so profound. Okay. So that brings me to my next point. Most people think about and think about export in terms of African store, which I don't know, depend on your goal, it may not be sustainable and it may be sustainable. This is why I said this. You agree with me that currently, with the rate of the jackpotting syndrome, most people jackpot with the intention that there is money left somewhere abroad, only for them to go there and meet a reality shock. And what they fall back at is exports. So I've had cases where people reach out to me severally because, of course, Google have been so wonderful to me. If you take export of ginger from Nigeria, I can guarantee you that you can't see the first two videos without seeing my video. Or ginger export from Nigeria, the first that is free advert for Google from my YouTube channel. But the thing is, you now see most African people that have jackpot starts get coming back to get agro products and to sell to the African markets. The African market is saturated. Now, this is what happened. Because most of them are already there and they have access to the market, they come back by December. You all know you need to be in Lagos and see December how people are filling up containers. Plantain flour, kwili, gari, dry ugu from Lagos. Now, if you are from Nigeria and you want to compete, let's say you are selling gari for 2,000 naira. Somebody is coming from US to take a 40-foot container, cutting down the cost of shipment, and is able to do everything and sell for 3,000 naira. Do you know that to ship 1 kg of gari from Nigeria, if you are not shipping with through shipping and you're using freight, you probably will be paying almost close to 15 to 18,000 naira. So if you want to sell 1 kg plus 18,000 naira plus your profits, how do you intend to compete with somebody that is selling for 3,000 or 4,000? So it means that those people have access to the market, access to resources, and access to what we call economic of skill. So this is how I want us to think. Instead of thinking of African market, can we actually think of industrial export? How do we export some of this product that we have been heavily blessed to companies that are using it for manufacturing? That way, you can have a corporate solid export with projection. Because why I'm setting this basis is once you start that, you are so focused on just the African store, it means that you may get lucky, somebody buys from you January, but there is no guarantee that the person will buy it in November. And you can't really have a concrete business that you are not having. You can't project your profit. You can't plan your life with that. You can't actually budget for children's school fees. You can't budget for house rent. You can't budget for feeding with that kind of inconsistent kind of business. The model is, there is something wrong with the model. You can use that as an add-on, but that should not be your focus for export. So this is what I want us to do. This is what I recommend. You focus on export that greatly is plugged into the supply chain of manufacturers that are producing something. So look at it this way. You are looking at probably cashew bulb for people that are producing jam. Did I pronounce it right? Jam? Your normal, the one you put on the bread. Jam, Jamb, right? I'm not a fan of that, but I know that there is a company in UK that produce that. Or you're looking at supplying ginger for people that are into spice production, or you're looking at supplying palm oil for people that are into cosmetics, or you're looking at even producing cashew water for people that are also into cosmetics. So these are multi-billion dollars industry that you can plug in, and then you can have a standard company registered in Nigeria, and you can have a profit projection. Having said that, the next question somebody will ask is, oh, this is lovely. How do we know the product that we sell, and which company will buy this product, and which country generally will buy this product? That brings us to our third point, which is the export market app, export potential map. This map has been drafted or created by the International Trade Center. It's free, you're not paying. So generally, when people want to export, this is what they do. They don't just randomly search online. They go online and go to the country that have comparative advantage of this product, and they go directly to that company, to that country. For example, people will not go to China. People will not search China to look for cocoa. People will not search Nigeria to look for olive oil. There are things that each country have been geographically blessed with. People will come to Nigeria to look for cocoa. People will come to Nigeria to look for cashew. People will come to Nigeria to look for cassava. People will go to Cote d'Ivoire to look for cocoa. So how do these people know that this particular country is greatly blessed with this? That is how they came about the export potential map. So simple terms, the export potential help buyers to know where to locate their suppliers. And it helps suppliers to know where to locate the buyers so that you don't take cocoa and start going to target a country like Afghanistan. If you want to do cocoa, which are the 3 main countries you should focus? So you don't do guesswork. You work strictly on research. That was why I said I want to listen to the person that talk about research. If he has like a program or an established way that he went about this research. So this is what I'm going to gift you today. So we are still in Women's Week, and it's about gifts and gain your power. So I'm going to take you through the International Trade Center map, which is the export potential. And my job here is going to be 3 things. 1, how to choose exportable products that you can scale. 2, how to know the exact market to target without doing a guesswork. 3, how to know the market potential, the size of the market, so you don't jump into market and you just realize that the size is not big enough. So without further ado, I will just quickly share my screen. I don't know, can you grant me access to sharing my screen? Is that possible?
Yes, yes, it's already granted. You can share now.
Okay. If you are getting value, please, I need thumb up, thumb up. Those are the things that makes my blood boil. If not, I'll start feeling like sleeping right now. Thank you. Oh my God, this is so amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I'm sharing my screen. So I'm trying to pull it up. Just a moment. Okay, great. So what can you see? I don't know. Is it sharing?
Oh well, I'm trying to see. It's not yet. I don't know. Okay, it's sharing now.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So I just quickly go to my Chrome. If you have your system or if you have your phone, please, you can join with me. It's free. Play with it. You are not going to be charged. Even after this class, you get lost. Some of these things that people come to coach you, collect money, and the rest. The answers is just in your hands, right? And I'm not coming here this morning to motivate or inspire to mark where you know. I'm just saying the answers is in your hands. Like, what exactly do you need for export? You need to know your exact product that will sell. You need to know the exact market that will buy. And then you need to know the market side. After you have gotten these 3 things, that is when you now start asking, okay, I know that my market is in US. How do I now get the importers that are importing this product? That is when you start talking about consultation. Not you consult for product, you consult for this, you consult for that. So let's quickly dive into it. I'm going to take Chrome. I think I'm okay with Chrome. Okay, so can you see my Chrome?
Yes, it's on.
Okay, so I'm just going to type export potential. And I will make sure I leave the link on the chat, just so that for people that cannot get the site. But it's very straightforward. When you get to your Chrome, just type the export potential and it will bring you to this place. It's loading. And let's pray that the network is fair for us today. So while we are waiting for it to load, I don't know, we could actually try to log in through our system, through our phones, and see what's, because I want this to be as practical as possible. Export potential map. Okay. So when you click on export potential map, it brings you to this page, and the very first page, I will still drop the link. You click on the export potential map itself, and it will take you to the International Trade Center export potential map. I am trying so hard. The network is. I don't know. Have anybody been able to access the map from the crowd? If yes, please type yes. Let me see if he's from my side. Then we can ask the host to share his own. Have we been able to access ours?
Yes, I'll share again now. I shared one earlier, but I think the one I'm sharing now is correct. It's better. So the very link I just shared now, we can click directly. All of us can click right now, and we can get access to the website.
Awesome, awesome. But I think I'm having a problem with my. Okay, it's coming up. Awesome. I think it's up now. So can you see my screen?
This is visible.
So it's showing export potential map, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So we are at the export potential map. So just as I was trying to explain, this is from the International Trade Center, and is actually, the job here is simple for buyers to know where to get their buyers to know where to get their suppliers, and suppliers to know where to get the buyers, the real buyers, not scammers, right? And for those of you that have been paying 120 USD for go find me, go for the world, go market me, go this. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Those things doesn't work. It looks like it work, but you may want to take it or you leave it. But I'm telling you from experience, for most of this platform that will promise you pay this money, I will give you buyer. Export is mostly based on relationship, because it comes in volume. Nobody wants to give you how many metric tons of how many $1 million for somebody that came from just a recommendation from the app. No, they want to see a concrete relationship. Either you're coming from an agency, you're coming from a government body that they can hold responsible, or you are within a network that you have been referred. And that is why I do a lot of this training on LinkedIn. So you may want to refer to that after this class. So we come to the export potential map, and you click here, or you go down and click any of them. Just click on the export potential map. And what you will see generally is a very clean interface like this. It's showing you all the trade that is going on within the world. But our focus here is simple. If you can see here, you have exporter and you have in the market. In this case, we are the exporter. So we'll just quickly change here to Nigeria. Please, you can do that with me. So you change here to Nigeria, and then it becomes what products is being exported from Nigeria to the world. Which product is the world looking into Nigeria to get? What product do we as a country have comparative advantage of? If you have mastery of some of those websites, you will not be in Nigeria and want to go and start processing coconut oil. I'm sorry. If you are here, you're processing coconut oil. I'm not saying it's bad. What I'm just technically telling you is that you don't have the comparative advantage of producing coconut oil compared to somebody that is in Ghana. You will get the coconut for probably 2,000 naira. Somebody in Ghana will get it for maybe 500 naira. No wonder you'll be producing coconut oil for 15,000 naira per liter, and somebody in Ghana will be producing it for 5,000. Does it make sense? If it makes sense, somebody should say power. So Nigeria to the world. And then this is all the products you are looking for Nigeria. So I will come here to actually make it very simple for you. So you see where you have on the top of it, you have 3 map, you have gap charts, and then you have analyze export potential. So I will click on this gap chart so that it will put it on a circular form for me so that I can easily click on that, sorry, on the analyze export rather. I have clicked on the analyze export and it comes like a cycle. And this is it. You have from number 1 down to 25. You can have as many as 100. I like to stay between number 1 to 15. Now, when you look at number 1 to number 15, no wonder you now start seeing the richest man in Nigeria where they are playing. So this doesn't apply to just export. It applies to even when you want to have a product that is scalable. So if you start hearing people like Dangote, you start seeing that they stay within this frame. If you start hearing people like Otedola, you see that they stay within, and I will show you how it applies. You start hearing people like Davido's father, you will see electricals here. You will see urea. If I call urea, all of you will say, oh, Dangote, Dangote, Dangote. If I start calling electricals, which is, I think it's always among our strongest, which is number 6, you will start thinking of Otedola and Davido's father. So most of these people, they don't work with emotion. They don't just say, I feel like this product will sell. I know that this product will sell. No, they work with world research program that actually gave them that leverage to actually know the product that people are looking for Nigeria, not just people outside, even people within Nigeria. The demand is so high. So number 1 is cocoa bean from Nigeria. Number 2 is urea. Number 3 is cashew nut in shell. Number 4 is sesame seed. Number 5 is aluminium. Number 6 is electrical. Number 7, it goes down. Ginger used to be number 9, but because of the ginger blight that happened in Nigeria, ginger came to number 14, which is still okay. Down to number 15. I like to put it that way. Now, this is where the magic happens. When, let's say, we want to take cocoa, you click on cocoa, please practicalize with me. It's very short, intense, and memorable class that you will live to enjoy. You click on this cocoa, this is what it will show you. It shows that, I think somebody from the crowd should help me read this. What can you see when you click on cocoa?
It says exponential export potential 1.8 billion, baseline export $1.1 billion, unrealistic potential remain in individual markets $749 million.
I think that's
Further
all.
information.
No. That
Okay.
is okay. That is okay. I just want to
Okay.
straight this thing. Thank you so much. That is so awesome. So this shows you the market size. It shows you the export potential for cocoa. You are not doing guesswork. Yes, the total export potential is 1.8 billion, guys. Billion, because I wanted him to stress the dollar. $1 billion. You can do the math if your calculator can take it. Right? So it shows you the baseline export and even the unrealized export. Another magic this wonderful site will do for you. When you see under, you will see market and exporter. This exporter is showing you other exporters like you that are competing for this market. So that makes you can't do business without knowing your competitor. So if you want to do cocoa, now ask yourself, which other countries also selling this cocoa to the same market I'm going so that I can copy from them? When you click on this exporter, you probably will see Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire because those are the people producing cocoa with Nigeria. Of course, you see Cote d'Ivoire number 1, Ghana number 2, Ecuador number 3, Nigeria number 4. These are the same people producing cocoa as Nigeria. So it tells you that this is the competitor that you'll be dealing with in this market. That is in terms of helping you to know your competitor. Then in terms of, if I click here, I'm struggling so hard not to tolerate this internet that is trying to distract my work. I will still try. So when you click on the cocoa, I don't know what's happening. Just a moment. Good. So when you click on the cocoa, it shows you the market, the total market, the competitor that you'll be dealing with, and then it shows you the market. This is where I want you to pay attention. If you want to sell cocoa, you have, let's say you check this and you see that cocoa is number one, and you know that you have access to cocoa. That is why I say you must know yourself. For example, somebody like me, I was born and brought up in the north. I live in the north. I feed the north. I love the northerners. I even love their way of life. I am married. I have 5 kids. My husband is not always available. I cannot start saying I want to do cocoa because they say cocoa is an export potential. That means I have to start traveling to Bekwara, start going to that side. It's not sustainable for me because you need to think about sustainability. And that was why I didn't go to cocoa. Then all the products from number 1 to 15, knowing myself means realistically asking myself, I can't do cocoa. Can I do urea? I can't do urea. Which all this product, which one is close in the north? That was how I settled for sesame seed and ginger, because these products are in the north. For example, if you are in Kogi or if you are in Ogbomosho, you won't think about cashew. Of course, if you are in Bekwara and all those places, Cross River, you want to think, and you have access to cocoa. Don't forget, cocoa is more like a cartel. You have access to cocoa. You want to think about cocoa, right? So when you already have this product, the next thing you want to think is the competitor, which I have showed you. The next thing again you want to think is the market size. And then the last thing you want to think about the market. So when you click on the market, it will show you the exact country that will pay you any amount and that will work with you even to train you just to get the Nigerian cocoa. So if you look at this place, it's telling you Nigeria in cocoa beans. So these are the people that are struggling to get Nigerian cocoa. They are so interested in you. And again, I put it in numbers. So the number 1 for Nigerian cocoa is Malaysia. Number 2 is Netherlands. Number 3 is Germany. So if you have this power tool in your pocket that I'm gifting you now, you will not carry cocoa and go and be looking for Poland or looking for China or say you want to travel to China because you want to go and look for cocoa buyer or looking for Korea. You will target Malaysia, you will target Netherlands, you target Germany. You want to assess all this your market and say, okay, based on this that I know that these are the market. Which market can I easily access? Which one do I have network? Which one do I have friends? Which one do I have visa? Which one can I quickly access? Because you have this power tool in your pocket. The same way, I just use cocoa for example. Some of you may want to try that with cashew. But what I've quickly done now today is to show you how to choose your product, how to know the market to play in, and then how to know your competitor and the market size. Okay, so let me just make you, for those of us that are here, because each time I teach, I try to appeal to our conscience, because I really don't know most times who is connected to who, or who may just bring that change. But I just want to make you cry a little, or make you feel a little bad for this country, and maybe that will trigger some kind of reaction for change. Look at this site that I'm showing you now. You could see that cashew nuts in shell is one of our biggest products in the world, in Nigeria. The largest buyer of cashew is the United States. Now, the United States is among the largest buyer. Nigeria is among the largest producer. Normally speaking, ideally, the largest buyer should be buying from the largest producer. Yet, our biggest buyer for cashew is not United States. Why is that so? Can somebody tell me the reason why? Why is it that the biggest buyer of cashew, we are unable to sell, even though we are among the largest producer? I want this class to be interactive. I just want us to think out of the box. Why is that so? Please, if you want to answer this, I need 2 people. Quickly raise up your hand, and I think the host will grant you permission to be able to speak. Why is it that we are among the largest producer, yet we can't sell to the largest buyer for cashew nut?
Yeah, you can speak. Springs alive, you can speak.
Is it because of the middleman?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Yeah, that
Mr.
is my
Banana,
answer. The
okay,
answer can as
middleman.
well be a question.
Okay, middleman.
Springer,
Okay, thank you.
like what you're an
Spring said,
Ugandan. How would you know? How would you know the situation of Nigeria? You're an Ugandan.
okay,
The situation is almost
Uganda.
the same, by the way, except
Okay,
the way I'm hearing, it zeroes in more on the trading, not on where the product actually comes from, the farm.
yes,
I'm
exactly,
yet.
exactly.
I'll give a point on that later.
Yes, exactly. And that brings, please take notes, irrespective of where you are coming from. The only thing you need to do differently from this map, the place I put in Nigeria, please put insert Uganda there. If you are from Ghana, insert Ghana there. Okay? It works both ways. It's an international trade center map. Okay, thank you so much. Middleman, somebody say middleman. Please, another person.
Yeah, someone said we don't meet their standards, the standard needed. Another person also affirmed they say standard regulatory issues.
The answer that I'm looking for, no sense. Is there another answer? No?
Someone said US
Okay.
buys processed cashew and we export unprocessed cashew.
God bless you. That's the answer. It means that somebody, thank you so much. That is the exact answer I'm looking for. Now, the United States buy processed cashew. Note that there is a difference between produce and products. Produce is at farm level. Product is, it has undergone some kind of processing or refining. So we are talking about products here, not produce. And also note that there's a difference between cashew nut and cashew kernel. Cashew nut is the gray one, the local one that you will just lick like agbalumo in Nigeria and you throw it. The kernel is the one that have been broken and you have something like granules, whites from inside. So what the US need is cashew kernel, not cashew nuts, because labor is extremely expensive in US. They don't have cheap labor where you will be paying almost $15 per hour, $19 per hour, 20. It's so expensive. So they cannot afford to bring 3 containers, 10 containers, 50 containers of raw crude cashew and start the labor process. Now, our continent, not just Nigeria now, other people that have cashew, we are so blessed that our government are not thinking of investing in this line. So they are not processing it massively. Even the individual that are coming to process, sometimes you want to buy cashew kernel, you can't even get like 1 container, 2 or 10 containers. So it's frustrating. Then the Vietnams, they saw this gap and they say, oh, this market need this product. And these people have it, they are not meeting up with this market specification. Let us come in. So all of you, you are right in your way. For the person that talks about middleman, the person that talks about specification, and the person that talks about process, all of you are right in a different dimension. So this Vietnam now said, let us come in as middlemen. That's what the first speaker recommend. Let's come in as middlemen, buy this cashew, process it, and sell it to US. And that is why you will see that even if I go through this map without even checking the map, I know, even my village people know, that the biggest buyer of cashew for almost all the African countries is Vietnam. They will come to Africa, scoop all the cashew, remove the back, and sell it to the US. Now, this is where I want you to cry. When I started this export business, then cashew was about $900 per metric ton. Vietnam people will buy the cashew for $900. They will take it to their site, they will process it and sell the cashew nut for $4,500. Then they will not, the chaff, they will not mix it with their grease and other thing and make brake pad oil and sell it for the same 4,500. Then you water for the cashew because that is the highest bleaching agent you can get. If you remember growing up, if you carry cashew water, if you put it in your skin, people use it to give themselves mark. In fact, I use it to give myself mark as a child because if you put it on your skin, it will just peel. It is that pungent. Just only 1 drop of this thing inside a whole bowl of container. it will make that, you'll get a bleaching cream. So the small water they are able to juice from inside, they sell it, and because that one is even the most expensive, so they sell for as high as $6,000, $5,000. So imagine a ton of cashew that they got for 900, they're already making more than 15,000 USD. Can you bet that? So now if I put Ghana, I put Nigeria, I click on cashew, and I go to market, you can't see any other person than Vietnam. They will always take number one. Let's check the markets. What can we see here? Number one, buyer of Nigeria cashew. Is my screen showing?
Vietnam.
Exactly. So it's all this works with data, research. That is why you go to most African countries that produce cashew, you will check, you see Vietnam. They have carved a niche. They have seen a niche. They'll pull this cashew, process it, and sell it to the largest buyer. So just like a way of recap, I'm going back to say, this is my women's gifts to you. You go to the exporter, put Ghana, put Uganda, put Nigeria. You come here, you look at, if you put, for example, if you put Uganda, let's go to Uganda, our brother. So if you put Uganda, you will see the largest exports that the world really needs from Uganda is gold. The second is coffee. The third is gold semi-manufactured. So when you click on this gold, you will see the market of the highest buyer of Uganda gold is United Arab Emirates and then India. So just as a way of recap, you use this to know the product that the world needs for you, so that you don't go and be wasting your time for product that you don't even have in your country, or even if you have it, nobody's interested in it. That is number one. Then number two, you use this same app to know your competitor and your market size. Then number three, you use it to find your market. After you have gotten this basis for export, then you can now decide to go and register for export in your country, be it Uganda, be it Ghana, be it Nigeria. And after you have registered, that is when you can now contact somebody like me to have like a one-on-one export class to know where you come from in terms of your country, in terms of the document you have, and to create a very straight export map for how to actually reach this particular buyer in that country that you have searched. So I hope this has been helpful. Without further ado, I'm just going to pause here and take questions from the class. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, ma'am, for the profound exposition, because like I mentioned, this was an exposition. It's not just a regular. Yeah, I know that we do have questions, but please, I want us to hold on. Ma'am, I want to seek your indulgence on something. The question and answer, we plan it to come after the second speaker. Do you mind staying with us still? After the second speaker session, then we take the questions together.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. So please, let's all stay on the call so that our questions will be attended to. As you can see, the thumbs up, the reaction shows that everyone did enjoy the session. I want to say thank you so much to our first speaker, Mrs. Deborah Apochi. Thank you so very much for the short and precise exposition, like I put it, because showing us through what a lot of people probably are not aware of now is something that is eye-opening. Thank you so very much. Yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into discussing, having the second discussion coming up, because we would have said, okay, let's do a bit of icebreaker, but we do not have that time anymore. So I'm just going to read the citation of our second speaker as well, and we have the topic coming up. So now I want to read the citation of our second speaker. We have our second speaker will be speaking on implementing HACCP standards for global market access. So these are part of the certification for global market. So how do you implement them? This is what our second speaker, who is not a person than Fumilayo Bello. So now the citation. Fumilayo Bello is a strategic project delivery leader and a great professional with over 7 years of specialized experience in developing climate resilient agricultural models and sustainable value chains across Nigeria. With a foundational background in crop, soil, and pest management from the Federal University of Technology, Akure, she uniquely combines technical scientific knowledge with high-level strategic management. Currently serving as a consulting lead at FutuX Agri-consult, Limited, Fumilayo specializes in bridging the gap between technical agronomic innovation and international market standards. She has a distinguished track record of leading multidisciplinary 7-person technical team to deliver multi-state advisory programs for international partners, including HEFA International and COLUD. Her experience in certification standard dates to her early career as a trainer and internal inspector for UTS Cocoa certification, where she delivered training on good agricultural and environmental practices, GAEP, and monitored compliance through rigorous inspections. A strong advocate for tech-driven resilience agriculture, she is a certified professional in soybean production, USOOYITA, and is currently finalizing an international action learning MBA with a specialization in food security at Business School Netherlands, where her research focuses on certification-led market entry strategy to enhance national food security. With a deep commitment to food sovereignty and defensible results-oriented perspective to discussion on HACCP certification, she's an expert at navigating the complexity of integrating smallholder farmers into organized certified commercial markets while ensuring long-term sustainability and economic resilience. Ladies and gentlemen in the industry, I present to you our second speaker, Fumilayo Bello. Now you have the floor, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tohib. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me on this call. And thank you for honoring our invitation. So without wasting much of our time, I'll be sharing my slides. Please, I would like to give our indulgence that the slide is deeper than what this webinar can exhaust. However, I'll try as much as possible to pass on the needed information that we need as what HACCP is about on this webinar. Thank you very much. I'll be sharing my screen now. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Your screen is not yet up. I'll let you know once it's up.
I guess I need to check again. Let me reshare, please. Okay. Okay. What about now?
Not yet. Not yet. Okay, it's coming up. It's coming up, but it is blank. I don't know. Maybe it's the network or it's just it's a technical glitch or something. But it shows that we are presenting already.
Okay. Let me.
You can stop sharing and start again. Let's see if it makes any difference.
Okay. I'll do that.
Yeah, well done. So someone is asking if they're going to be getting if we are recording. Yes, we are recording, and you're going to be getting the recordings. For those who probably didn't register for this session, I'm going to share a link with us almost at the end of the session, so you register so that you can have access to the recording via the link and other information. These classes, I mean, series like this will continue to come up, so we don't want you to miss out. Make sure you register once the link is dropped. So I'll drop it as we go on, but let's focus on this second session as we proceed. Your screen is not showing.
Please, Brenda can help from her hand, please. I don't know why I'm having difficulty. She has a
Brenda shared with me, but I've been unable to put it on my device, laptop here. I don't want to use the phone to share because it would not be able to capture what we need. Brenda, can you share? Is it possible?
This is interesting. Is Brenda on this call, please? Okay, she is. So I think while we wait for the screen, the presentation to come up, I can go ahead. So HACCP has been said it's a food safety certification and is a hazard analysis critical point control with a focus on ensuring the process of food handling is clean and safe for consumption. So I'll write on the foundation that our first speaker has said, I've spoken about, which is, please confirm if I'm audible enough.
Yes, you're audible. I'm sharing the screen already.
All right, thank you. Thank you. So like on the foundation, she has established that it's not enough to just think of export, but it's best to understand what it entails and what is required of us. And that's why after understanding the market, just like she has taken us through, you know what your market is, you know what the products you want to do. Another level of our knowledge is, okay, what is the requirement as far as food safety is concerned? Next slide, please. Okay, so the objective of this session is just to understand what ASIP certification is about and the steps that are involved, such that when you have a customer that requests for, you have a buyer already, maybe through the channel our first speakers took us through, you have your product, you have a market, then your client is saying, okay, we need HACCP certification, then you have an idea of what is expected and where to go to, who to run to handhold you in implementing that certification. And that's what we are going to do now. Next slide, please. Next one, please. Okay, so like earlier established is a food safety certification which entails a systematic approach, like a stepwise approach, and it's targeted towards identifying hazard and also hazard within the chain of our processing, of our food processing, and also measures that needs to put in place to ensure those hazard identified can be corrected, and the ones that are within the limits that cannot harm the intended users can be managed. So it's also a tool that will assess it and also establish a control system. So one thing I would like us to take away from this first slide is that an ASIP is a system. HACCP is a system. It's not a standalone process. It's a system. So it has a. Sorry, is someone speaking? Hello.
HACCP is a system. It's not a standalone process. It's a system. So it has a.
Hello. Sorry, please.
Hi. I'll fix that.
Hello. Okay, thank you. So it's a system. It's not a standalone process. So, and what that implies is that when there is a break in the system, you are still able to function while you are fixing. Okay, thank you, Toyi. So what it implies is that you are still able to function while you are fixing that aspect that is.
You are still able to function while you are fixing that aspect that is broken.
Can I continue?
Yes, please, you can.
All right, thank you. So, and this ASIP, next slide, please. So, and the purpose of it, next slide, please. Thank you. The purpose and the scope of it is to ensure product handling processes are in line with food safety. So the scope of it is that it's identified products per time, then to categorize it, and also identify relevant processes that is associated with that product. Another thing is that there is always a description of that product that and the intended usage of the product, whether by the operation and also a greater details of it to support what we call a flow, the ASIP flow diagram. Please move to the next one. So what does ASIP really involve in? Next slide, please. So in ASIP generally has there's a 12 principles, which 5 of it is what we refer to as prerequisite programs, while the remaining 7 are the main principles of ASIP. And what does this prerequisite programs really talks about? It talks about a range of programs that is necessary to set the stage for the ASIP-based program. What it means is that the first 5 sets the pace for the 7 principles to be built on. And this first 5 includes developing an ASIP team. So when we think of, okay, I want to get certified for ASIP, my clients requires that I get certified for ASIP. One of our things that it entails is that when we are ready to do is that we have a team built within our organization that is focused on that certification. Their core responsibilities will be that they work with whatsoever consultant, whatsoever implementation company that you're working with to achieve that certification. So the ASIP team, for me, an ASIP team is key in the ASIP implementation system as part of the requirement prerequisite requirement programs. Then we also have to describe the product and its distribution. Please move to the next slide. I wish I can control the slide for me. Please go on. Okay, please, the next one. So this is where I am now. How do we get started? So after that, the first 5 are prerequisite, like I earlier mentioned. Then the 7 are the core ASIP principles. The next one, please. So this is it, the system, how it is being done. You form an ASIP team. Then the product that is intended to get certified needs to be described. And you also have to identify the intended use of that product. An example is this. Okay, you are dealing with sesame, for example. So we have to identify, okay, what is the intended use of this sesame that I want to export? Is it oil that they want to extract from it? We need to have that understanding of it. Then there's also a process flow diagram, which explains the process of handling from where you buy from to how it gets to your own facility, let's say your warehouse now. Then when it gets to your facility, the process of handling it, like from the warehouse to the cleaning sections to the bagging and the storage. They also have to confirm the flow diagram that will be done. After we must have established the flow diagram, there is a need for confirmation if all that has been stated in the flow diagram is as we claim they are. Then that now takes us to the 7 principles of ASIP, which is the first one is we have to conduct hazard analysis. Please move to the next slide. Sorry, please go to the back one, the previous one. Okay, yes. So once hazard analysis is done, then we have the critical control point needs to be determined. Then you establish the critical limits, establish monitoring system, establish corrective actions of those hazards that has been identified, establish verification procedure. Okay, we have identified them. How do we verify them to confirm the system functions properly? Then documentation of all the records. I would like to establish here that in ASIP certification, documentation is key. There's nothing like even as simple as sanitary process. Okay, when your workers, when they resume the clinic, where do they change? What time do they resume? After using the convenience, are there things in place for them to clean up? As little as those details matters. So documentation, we have to establish documentation and records concerning every procedure procedure of handling, procedure of collection, feedback from customers, all those things have to be documented. Next slide, please. Sorry, please.
Yes, I did already.
Okay, I think it's lagging from my end. So I mentioned earlier that an ASIP team has to be formed, which is the first thing. So in forming it, what does the ASIP team comprises of? It entails the management team. It includes the management team, and it also have the management team have to. Okay, please. Thank you for that feedback. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. So the management team will define and assign roles. So the team comprises of a member of management team. It could be the manager of the company or someone that represents the management team will have to make up member of the ASIP team, and their consent and to support the ASIP team is key to success of that implementation. So also part of the ASIP team requirements for me is that the roles of individual team members has to be well spelled out. Their job description has to be well spelled out with evidence. Like I said earlier, that documentation is key. There's nothing like word of mouth, like we just hired a cleaner with word of mouth. There's nothing like that. There's always an evidence. So this is the contract with the job roles being spelled out. And then there's also one of the team members who have to head that team. And that person is in position of ensuring that all the procedures are implemented. Individual persons are being assigned within that team for particular roles within the ASIP system. The team lead ensures that they carry out those roles judiciously as stated in the ASIP standard. Then, as intervals, there will be a management review that will be conducted to ensure continuity and of the process. So there's always a management review, and at each management review, there should be evidences of those meetings. And that's why I would like to establish us again that documentation is key part of ASIP certification implementation. So whether in management meeting, there should be something to show as evidence that the meeting was held, the management review meeting was held, how many people attended, like the attendance list, what was discussed, and the likes need to be well spelled out. So those details are part of what will be audited at point of doing the ASIP auditing in the long run. Please, let's move to the next one. The second step is product description, and this is what it entails: the name, ingredients, component preservation, packing, storage method, what's the shelf life, the requirements as per customers and specification. The next one, please. Then, like I said earlier, identify the intended use. What is this product I'm selling? What is it intended to? Is it just as a raw material? Is it to be consumed directly? Will it have to undergo how many further process will it undergo to reach finished product? Then am I dealing with wholesales or processors? So this is what identification of intended use entails. That document where we are describing the intended use of the product, we are intending to certify has to carry all these details under the identification of intended use. Please go ahead. Then the process flow. As earlier mentioned, the process flow is to be designed like a Gantt chart, kind of, a diagram that shows how the material moves. And part of what to consider in designing our process flow is the raw material, the list, then also the packaging, water, the rework, the transfer stages. Okay, from the warehouse, does it go to fumigation chamber, to fumigation section? From the warehouse to the fumigation, how does it move? How is the product being handled? So all these processes has to be detailed in our flow diagram. Please go ahead. Please, next slide. Then, like I said also that we need to confirm process flow diagram. We have designed our process flow. There's always a need to confirm, okay, is it accurate on the basis of the ASIP plan that was done? Then we also need to walk the line to ensure that they are detailed enough. Then it also needs to be carried out by and someone that is not involved in the designing for clarity. For clarity, so there's no diagram, just telling us that there's always a flow diagram that needs to be designed. So then also needs to, the verification or confirmation of the process is usually done by someone that is not involved in designing that flow diagram. Then when there is areas of loopholes, there is need to amend where it is necessary, and also make changes to records that maybe they are not right or not detailed enough. So and please, I would like to establish that the process flow diagram is critical, and it's always the basis for identifying the control points. So that's why when it is being done, it has to be detailed enough. No aspect is to be left out, because it can be a kind of a problem in the future when we don't spell it out as it ought to be. Please go ahead. Sorry, please. So the first 5 that we mentioned are just the basis on which the 7 principles stands. And the 7 principles for ASIP entails hazard analysis. We determine the critical points, establish the critical limits. Then we also document the corrective actions. What should be done? Then establish verification process, then record keeping procedure. So I'll run through the 7 principles now. Please go ahead. So hazard analysis as first principles of ASIP implementation is just a process of collecting and evaluating information on hazard that is associated with food under consideration. Is a process, and it also helps to identify what are the potential hazards in terms of the source. We have identified the potential of it, the source of it, and the significance. How significant is it? Severe? Is it mild? So that's what hazard analysis helps us to do. And in hazard analysis, there are 2 stages to it. We have the identification stage and the evaluation stages. Then the evaluation stages is when it is evaluated whether the hazard identified is it has to do with microbiological contamination. Does it have anything to do with chemical contamination? Does it have any other chemical contamination? We are talking about maybe unlawful pesticide residue. We all know that food chemical, it's something that is almost inevitable in our food chain these days, and that's why ASIP is key on checking that contamination level and to see whether banned chemicals are even used in the process of producing that product. Then another stage of evaluation is we also evaluate the decomposition if food hazard exists. If you identify there is an hazard, what is the decomposition rate? Then what is the nature of toxins that we identified? Then also, are there unapproved use of food or color additives? Those are things that we evaluate during hazard analysis. Another thing also is the presence of undeclared ingredient. There are times that maybe in the process of writing describing the product, we miss out on ingredients that are being used. This is talking about maybe the product to be certified now is a processed, already processed product, not product that to be used for as raw material. So in the process of changing it from raw material to finished products, maybe there are ingredients that are being used that were not being mentioned. For example, the case of processing, let's say, vegetables into consumable products, there are some oils that are not are used. Maybe you use a canola oil. You need to spell it out. Maybe in the process of identifying, describing the product, we miss out that. So this analysis helps us to check presence of undeclared ingredient that may cause allergens, because the raw essence of declaring all the ingredients is to identify which ones are people of particular categories or particular culture are allergic to, or particular, for example, the vegetarians may be allergic to some oils. They might be allergic to maybe the vegetarians are known to have to do with anything that has to do with vegetables and fruits. But when it comes to meat, and maybe meat products is part of the ingredient that were used to process that particular item that were to be certified. So that's the key reason why we need to, the hazard analysis help us to check ingredients that are left out in the process of declaring all other ingredients. Thank you. So please, let's move to the next slide. Hello. Please, let's move to the next slide. So when we're the next one is false. When we're moving from, hello.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Okay, so moving from hazard analysis, and we'll move to determine the critical control points. And this is to identify steps at which control is essential. So we need to identify, okay, at this point, when this is identified, when is this control, we need to control it at this stage, whether to prevent it or eliminate or reduce it to acceptable levels. So one thing I would like to establish here is that, please, Tawib, can you please look into slide being more visible? I don't know whether it's on slide mode. Someone just dropped that.
Yeah, the slide is visible.
Okay, thank you. So after we must have identified that, okay, to an acceptable level, one thing ASIP does is that certification generally, there's always a barest minimum level. So at this point, we need to determine the level at which it is acceptable. That's what we do that's what it is done at a critical control point. And also a critical limit is also, I would like to explain that a critical limit is the maximum or minimum value to which whether the biological, the chemical, or physical hazard must be controlled. So, and it also sets in order to prevent or reduce hazard to acceptable. I think I mentioned that earlier, that it is to reduce hazard to acceptable level. Please, let's move to the next slide. So after we must have established critical control points, then we also determine the monitoring. We need, okay, how do we monitor this hazard? And it's a planned series of observations that needs to be taken to assess whether the critical control point is within the critical limit. Remember that we must have established the critical limits. So when we are at the monitoring stage, we want to ensure that it is within that critical limit that we have identified and established. It also helps to produce an accurate record for future verification. Please, let's move. So the next thing is we have established that we have established our critical control monitoring. The next thing is corrective actions. All of this that we're saying needs to be documented. They are not just we say it's no. There are documents that needs to back them up that we actually did them. So documentation, as earlier established, is key when it comes to certification implementation. It's key. So corrective actions, there are procedures that we have established that this is the procedure, the steps that we're going to take when hazard is identified in our process. So it is a documented procedure that, okay, when we identify this, so this is what we intend to do. Then the aim of it is just to correct and eliminate the cause of the hazard. Whether we eliminate it or bring it to critical control points under control. So it's very key. Then it also helps us to put measures in place to correct problems that can be identified in the future. So we also prevent future occurrence. These corrective actions help us to prevent future occurrence of those hazards that we identify at this stage. The next slide, please. So after the team must have done all of that, we also agreed earlier that there is a need for verification of those procedures we have written. And it is often good that it is verified, those activities and the monitoring stage, and also even the asset plan that we design, we need to be sure that they are in place to ensure that they don't fail. And if there's need for significant change in the product process, we can quickly correct it. Okay, this is the process we've been doing it before, but there's a slight change. It is in the process of verifying our procedures that we documented, that we identified, okay, this is what we used to do, but now this is where we are now. Then we can quickly amend it in our record. Please, let's move to the next slide. Next slide, please. So this is a key part of this certification. We establish documentation record keeping procedure. Okay, when our product comes from maybe from the farm to the warehouse, this is a procedure of receiving. We need to establish that. And there are 4 different types of ASIP record that needs to be kept. We have the ASIP plan, which support documentation used in developing the plans, the records of corrective actions, records of verifying our activities, and there should also be a record of monitor of our critical control point monitoring. So these key records are key for us. These record keeping procedures are key in ASIP certification implementation process. So what we do at FutuX is that in the process, when you're ready to implement, FutuX and hold you to put the whoever that is in need of the ASIP certification, put you through the process. Okay, this is what is expected. This is the areas that you need to work on. This is what you need to put in place. You don't have this in place. This is all that needs to be done. So that is our own core responsibility as far as certification implementation is concerned. Please, next slide. So, like I said, this webinar it's just an overview of what ASIP certification is about, and that's why I just listed out a few things that talks about this principle 7. So, and essential, it is keeping record help us to be able to apply the ASIP, just essential to application of the ASIP system. As we earlier established that ASIP certification is a system, it's not a standalone thing. So this helps us to establish that system accurately. Then also appropriate to the size and nature of business. Whether you're a small business or a big business, it accepts your sizes, and also it applies the ASIP system based on your business size. It also demonstrates the importance of the critical control monitoring to your staff. That's the record keeping, because the staff will know that, oh, so these things that we've been overlooking, they are so important. Then why it is required is that it's also a policy, and it also helps for your internal auditing. Then you can also, it also helps in your complaints investigation, also helps in doing your due diligence defense. Because anything you don't document, you can hardly have a say to defend it. They also prove that the business is well managed. And that's why we emphasize that for anyone that is interested in HACCP certifications, to be ready to go through the rigor of documenting every tiny details. Please move to the next slide. So these are examples of contaminations that can occur in food processing. And these are part of what ASIP looks into. It can be a biological. An example of it can be E. coli in water that is being used for the processing. Then it can also be chemical, or an example of it can be allergens or pesticide residue as earlier established. And physical ones can be metal or glass. Those are examples of contaminations that can occur and that ASIP tries to identify in the process of implementing it. Please, Tori, please move to some of the practice documentations, practices that needs to be documented. That should be slide 37, please. Slide 37.
All right.
Okay, so these are some of the practices that needs to be documented. Your cleaning, when was it done, how frequent is it, and how effective is it to eliminate food safety risk. So all of this needs to be documented. When was the restroom cleaned last? It has to be documented. The person assigned for that activity has to, like, a kind of a logbook has to be established for that. So please, next slide. Another one is pest control. Maybe there's need for you to fumigate your warehouse. You have to have a logbook for that. And the type of pest that you sprayed against needs to be identified. Then we need to also have a written instruction as to how to control the pests to minimize the presence of those pests. So all of this has to be documented in a logbook as part of the documentation process. This slide 39 now, which talks about calibration. Equipment that are being used to measure your products, they need to be calibrated. When was it calibrated last? It needs to be documented. And has to be according to manufacturer instructions or guidelines. These records are to be maintained continuous, not just a one-time thing. An example of it can be your thermometer, your moisture meter, hydrometer, fire extinguishers, and frequency of servicing your fire extinguishers. All of this falls under this calibration documentation. Slide 40 also talks about management of purchase materials that came in, how are they being detailed. Every material has to have a kind of a label that spells out. This talks about a little of traceability. It gives information about the product of incoming materials, the purchase requirements also that we need to be verified later. Then every supplier has to have a code that is traceable. And this code has to be unique for all suppliers. Then provision also needs to be made for proper segregation. That's the cleaning process now. And also within the premises of processing your products under the ASIP standard, the burning the ASIP standard is against burning. I think generally the word is speaking about that as to how to reduce greenhouse effects. So reduce burning is not allowed, burning of waste products. So there has to be a process of managing the waste. Maybe it's to be recycled in such a way that is environmentally friendly. Then containers for waste products also needs to be clearly identified and also for their purpose. Okay, the waste bin here is for us to collect plastic waste. This one is to collect paper waste. All of that needs to be identified. Then personal hygiene. All of this I've been mentioning are some of the records that needs to be kept. Personal hygiene, hand washing facilities, are they accessible? Are they accessible within the reasonable distance? There is a verbal instructions where the hygiene material is placed. Is there something that explains to whosoever that comes there to know what to do? And also the importance of asking them to do it. Is it well written out? that can be seen and understood in a language that can be understood. Then for workers that are handling the products, do they have a process of cleaning up after work or before starting the work? Is there an hygiene process that you have put in place and they are doing it? Sometimes there will be need for you to have uniforms that your workers will wear during cleaning. So all of this needs to be documented under the personal hygiene sanitation record. The next slide, which is slide 42, talks about the storage, purchasing, and transportation. So all of these are examples of record that is important for anyone that is interested in HACCP's implementation to document. Then also part of it is also the standard operation procedures, the SOPs of how we carry out our processing. Is also another record that needs to be documented. So essentially, documentation is key part of any HACCP certification implementation process, and this is one of the reasons why food safety certification seems to help anybody that is interested in exports. It helps them to gain access to. It helps them to command a better price, because all of these don't come cheap and they don't come easy. It's a kind of a hard work that anybody that is interested in it is a kind of, I've decided to commit to it to ensure my processes are safe. And it's also a commitment to food safety. I've committed to it, and that's why if you have chosen to be certified as HACCP product owner, it's important that, okay, after doing it, we have a better market. Just like earlier said by our first speaker, that it's not just a thing of feeling, it's a thing of commitment, it's a thing of being sure of where we are going, it's a thing of being sure of what does my market need. And when we know that our market needs it and we're ready to commit to it, and there's always a reward at the end of the day. So along the line, for this webinar, I might not be able to go through some of these critical points definition, but having taken us through what the process of HACCP looks like, I want to believe that we have an overview of what HACCP certification is about. So I will be going to the review now. Review of the HACCP. Please, Tohib, slide 52, please. Please confirm you are there. Slide 52, please.
This is also up to
52. No, it's not 52. Okay, I'll say from my end, the review I just want to review what HACCP is about. The design and running of HACCP is a scheme, and continuously has to be revised whenever the food processing operation is altered or there is a new facility that has been integrated. That is my concluding part. That is not a one-time thing, and usually when a facility gets certified this year, there's always a surveillance certification that follows once that first certification reaches a year. There's need for a surveillance audit to be carried out, and what it simply means is that what you've established in the process of getting certified, they want to be sure that you have not deviated from it. Like the word surveillance, okay, let's be sure you are still on track. So there's always need for surveillance after 1 year of the first certification, and after the first surveillance, so there's also need for another surveillance audit, just to be sure that we are on track. Humanly speaking, it's easier to deviate, and that's why they have put systems in place to put these agribusiness owners or certificate holders in check on a yearly basis. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. At this point, I will be wrapping up and to give room for questions and answers. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for taking us through that session thoroughly, because you can already understand that even from taking us through, we already can understand that this is something really thorough and technical. Thank you for taking your time out and for sharing with us. We sincerely do appreciate it. So I also want to assure those of us who joined that we would be having access to the material. So for the part that was skipped, so you have nothing to worry about at all. Once again, thank you so much. Formula Bill, thank you so much. And again, to our first speaker, Deborah Apochi, thank you so much. We are just going to go into taking questions, but because we have shot behind the targeted time for these two sessions to end for the question and answer, the question will be a bit limited. So I want to take questions. So if you have questions, you can use the in-call message and you can raise your hand and just speak. But while we're doing that, I'm sharing a link in the in-call message. Please, let's attempt to register using that link. That is where we can have access to the recording of this program and also have access to the slide material that was used. Thank you. So please, if you have question, there's a question here that says, for one starting a nano or micro agro business, what is the fate of the entrepreneur in getting this certification when they don't have facilities yet? They plan to process at home and with manual processing labor. Is there hope for them to get HACCP certification? Ma'am, Fumi, can you attempt to answer the question now, or should we read all of it together at once?
No, let's do everything at once. So we don't.
Okay. So that is the first. That is the first one. I think there are others. Someone said Garba said HACCP meant for good products alone. Like, is it meant for only good products? That is the first question. The second question, it says, I intend to export products produced by another company. What documents do I collect from the company to verify compliance to my customers? Is it just the HACCP CCP certificates? That is another question. Okay, I think that is all of the question directed to you. We are going to, for the question directed to our first speaker, if you have any questions specifically to our first speaker regarding the market export finance and everything she has, taken us through, especially export potential map, kindly use the in-call message or raise your hand and you have the function to speak so that we can attempt to answer all of these at once. Do we have any question for our first speaker? But while we are thinking of that, maybe our second speaker should go ahead since the questions are ready for her. So, ma'am, Fumi, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. For someone that asked about the nano business, if I will be honest with you, there is a minimum to how your business can accommodate HACCP. Bearing in mind that certification is not cheap, and so if you are taking that step further to get certified, then it must worth it. There is a scale you must be. And so we often advise that if you are in a particular value chain and you've explored international market, just like our first speaker has taken us to, maybe you're able to go through our explanation, you're able to identify the market that you feel has potential. We advise, if as a nano business owner, that you can form a cooperative while you work with other people in the same value chain with you and get certified, rather than, because it doesn't worth it when it's at scale. That's when it makes a lot of sense. For example, your customer can say, okay, we need also container of this. So as a nano person, you might not be able to supply that at that level, but you have the understanding that you have the understanding that you need to be certified. And please don't get me wrong, there are some customers that they don't specifically ask for certification. But what we are saying is that is a step further for you to command premium price. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So do you also want to answer the other question?
Yeah, please. The other question was about...
Is it only meant for good products alone? I mean, the HACCP certification, is it only for good product alone? What would you say to that?
Good product? What does the person mean by good products? I don't get
I'm also trying to guess too. Okay, food products. Sorry, food. The person corrected it.
Food products.
Yes, food products.
There's a food safety certification. It has to be, it can be processed or raw material. For example, there are people that get certified for Zobo leaves, for Zobo zobo leaf, the common zobo leaf that we all know. They have market where they export zobo. You and I will agree that that zobo is a raw material for another finished product their clients is supplying. And it can also be a finished product. Maybe you are exporting a processed dried onion or cashew nuts. You get me? So, and cashew kernel, and let me use the right word. The cashew kernel, processed cashew kernel, it can be for that, either ways. But it's a food, like I said earlier, it's a food safety certification. It's just anything
Thank you.
has to do with food. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think you've answered the question, the two questions from that person. The other one is okay. You almost the third question. So this question is directed to our first speaker, Ma'am Deborah. The person said, "I live in Rivers State. I'm close to Notori. I'm not sure I know that I can pronounce that place in Dorama. How can I get the urea export business?"
Thank you so much. Just like I have shown you how to use the export potential map, you want to go through the map, see how, if you have access to urea, see the market that is available to you. Is it UK? Is it US? Is it then, only then, and you already know that you have access to your product and you know that there is a certain market that demand that product, then you can contact me at the www.deborah.apoche.com. It's not something that we can exhaust on this platform. We need to draft a strategic plan for you so that you stop doing guesswork, not going round and round and round in terms of, okay, do you need certification? What certificate do you need? How much you need to commit into it, and when you will realistically break even. Because the truth of the matter is, so many people come into export and they see it like a side hustle. Export is not a side hustle. You should treat it as a corporate company, having all your certification, having all your documentation, having all your the necessary things. Like, you really need to do the work so that you can project your profit and probably even leave a legacy company that will outlive you. Not like the way we treat export here, where we treat it as side hustle. Somebody reach out to you and say, "I'm working with Ministry of this thing. I just needed a contract so that I will ship." Just push container. You don't just push container. You need to invest in this, just like Fumi said. So when you are ready and you have this first step, which is free, one, your product, your market, and the general basics, which is like having your CSA, then you can get in touch with me. Then we now structure you in terms of how to actually reach these exact buyers, how you will meet them one-on-one, not scamming, not online, not internet. Do you need to attend trade show? Which specific trade show do you need to attend? If it's, you are looking for customers in Netherlands, are we talking about attending international food trade show, or are we talking about attending the biofac? Or if it's even a food product, are we talking about the fresh organics? Which is that? So is actually a strategic plan, and it's something that unfortunately we cannot digest all. And just to add to the question for Fumi, where the person is asking for nano business, we do a lot of things that have to do with nano business. This is what Fumi is saying. As certification, it has to be scale. Probably I want to break it down so you can understand. For example, let's take the normal agro product. I'm just giving an example. Let's say you are farming 1 hectare of ginger and you are getting 10 tons from that 1 hectare. And let's say, assuming the certification, let's say you are doing organic certification, both the EU organic and the US organic, and the cost of the certification is 20 million naira. Do you know that that 20 million, when you prorate it for that 10 hectares, it means each of the one ton, you're adding 2 million addition. It won't make sense. That is why it has to be scaled. So you will now put 2 million. Let's say the cost of your 1 ton is 1 million plus the cost of the certification, because of course you need to put the cost of certification. That will now be 3 million. When people are selling ginger for probably 1.2 million, your ginger is 3 million. It doesn't make sense. So, but if you had done probably say for 25 million for 100 hectares of land at scale, it will not make sense. So that is what she's trying to say, that you cannot carry nano business and go and probably do HACCP, and maybe if it's 5 million or 8 million or 10 million or even 4 million as the case may be, by the time you put it on your product, it will not make sense. So here's what I recommend. If you are a nano business, start first. I mean, I usually tell people, most of us want to just start and start running. Take your step as a baby step. As a child, when you start, you first learn how to start sitting. You sit properly before you start crawling. You start crawling before you start even holding people's hands and start taking one step, holding tables. Then before you now let go of the people, your mentors that are holding you, and then you now start working on your own. Don't just, they will not just give birth to you today and you jump up and start running. Okay, so at Nano, you probably want to look at, okay, based on realistical approach, what I have this product, my nano processing place, maybe it's a kitchen, because currently NAFDAC does certification for nano business. So this is what I have, realistically speaking. I want to probably do NAFDAC and start supplying HMedis, ShopRite, this supermarket. I'm giving myself, this is going to be my short-term plan. I'm giving myself 3 years. By the time I raise this money, I will relocate this my business from my nano house, and I will get a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom flat, and I will do HACCP certification, and everything is going to cost me 20 million. So I know that I need to raise 20 million from now to the next 20 years. How many products do I need to supply to HMedis to give me 20 million? So that is you sitting, walking, and running, not just starting and jumping. Okay, and another way is, if you don't want to go through the local route, you can now say, which of this product I can actually process and probably sell on Amazon. And I probably don't need to, first of all, start with HACCP. And how many of these products do I need to sell to get to this point where I get my own factory and I start getting my own HACCP and started getting bulk buyers? So that is how I would like to approach it. Thank you. Oh, I can see the love emoji. Thank you so much.
All right, thank
Thank
you
you,
so
ma'am.
much for that immense contribution. So I think this question goes to Fumi. He said, you haven't answered the second question. I intend to export products produced by another company. What documents should I collect from the company to verify compliance to my customers? Is it only the HACCP certificate? Did you get that?
Yeah, I got that. So thank you. Actually, it actually skipped my mind. So the point is, the first thing you need to establish is, what certification requirement does your client want? Some, they are not just limited to ASIP. ASIP is always the foundation for every other food safety certification, for international certifications now. So you need to be sure that they are not requesting for more. So once you are sure of that, then you verify that your supplier is certified, is ASIP compliant, if it's just ASIP. However, in some cases, if you also have a collection point, it requires that you also have that ASIP. You cannot just say based on what your supplier certificates are, because like I said, it's a process certification. Your own process of, it's not that you're picking from your supplier, you are exporting directly from them, except if that's all you do, that it doesn't get to your own warehouse. It is from their warehouse you export. But if it's moving from their own facility to your own facility before it moves out, there will be need for your own process as well to be certified. I hope I answer your question.
Right, thank you so much. So let me see if we have any other. Okay, for now, I think that will be all of the questions. Again, please let us attempt the link that I shared on the in-call message. The link is for us to register so that we can have access to the recording and also the material in the course of this training. We want to appreciate everyone for your time. I also want to let us understand that this session will come up more periodically. So be on the lookout. Follow us on our social media platform. Not only that, you get to subscribe to read our newsletters. From there, you can always be updated about our activities. Thank you so much. So I would now call on one of us to do the closing remarks. Brenda, if you're here, I figured your network has been a bit fluctuating, but if you're here, kindly do the closing remarks. But if Brenda is not active, I'll call on Tawheed to do us the honor of the closing remarks. Thank you. Tawhid, can you hear me? Looks like Brenda is not active here.
All right. Good afternoon. Please confirm you can hear me. My network has been a bit crappy as well.
Yeah, we can hear you, but can you get closer to your device a little bit?
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Once again, good afternoon, everyone. And yeah, thank you for making time to join us today. I want to sincerely appreciate Mr. Dora and Ms. Fumi for that amazing session. Thank you most sincerely for doing this for us. To all our participants, I want to anchor on one of the concluding statements of Mr. Dora about understanding the need to learn to follow the process from learning how to sit to crawl before walking. I want to anchor by saying that one of the things that work very well in the area of business or anything in life is working with mentors or those who have pulled our parts. I like to use a phrase that says, if you stand on the shoulder of giants, you see beyond your peers. In this line of exporting, certification, getting connection with European market, etc. FutuX is a force to reckon with. FutuX is our giant. You need to look at how to stand on them. So we are simply saying we are available to work with you to ensure that you get your certifications right. We are available to work with you to ensure that you learn the right process of even what product should you identify to work with. And of course, we are also available to work with you in working around partnership, connecting with the right European market to see how, as I speak right now, we even have opportunity around cashew. If you have interest or you have people who are producing cashew, you can please speak to us. You can speak to myself, you can speak to Rose, who is the head of business development unit. You can also speak to my colleague, So essentially, you're simply saying, if you want to kickstart the journey right now, or you've been doing it before, please, you want to be work with us to ensure that scaling becomes much easier for you. We force to have this relationship that is going to help every one of us. Together, I believe we will win. Thank you very much once again, everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Tawhid. Thank you for that very succinct closing remarks. Please confirm you can hear me. I think I lost my network connection on the other device.
Oh, yes.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Oh, I can.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. So once again, we want to say thank you to everyone who joined, to all the team members across teams. We also say thank you for taking your time out, the busy schedule to join this webinar. We are looking forward to more of this, in our subsequent engagements. And also, please don't forget to register using that link. I want to say special shout out to, I think, Spring Alive. Maybe he left already. He joined from Uganda, and not only that, he was the first person to join, despite that there's a bit 2-hour time difference in our time. He joined as the first person, and he also confirmed he was joining from Uganda. We appreciate everyone, and that will be all for today. My name is Tohib Bisiri. It's been a pleasant pleasure as well as a privilege to have moderated this session. We look forward to having more of this. Thank you so much, and please do have for yourself a lovely day ahead.